Imagine being so smart that you can instantly translate languages, drive a car, or even diagnose diseases just by looking at images. It sounds like science fiction, but this is the reality for some AI systems. They learn from experience just like we do. By recognizing patterns in massive amounts of data, they get better at what they do. Let's see how they do it. In the world of artificial intelligence, learning means finding patterns in data. Think of it like this. When you were little, you learned by seeing things over and over again. Your parents taught you about the world. You learned about shapes, colors, and how things work. You learned these things because you saw them often and then put them together. And now you use what you learned every day. Like when you cook your favorite meal. For example, AI systems learn the same way, but on a larger scale. But instead of using their eyes, they use computers. They look at tons of data and find patterns. And here's the amazing part. The more data they look at, the smarter they get. It's like having a personal teacher that never stops learning. What they learn can help us solve big problems. For instance, Google's DeepMind system learned how to play a complex game called StarCraft 2. It's a game where you have to explore, gather resources, and fight against other players. This game is hard for computers because it needs a lot of thinking ahead. But thanks to machine learning, DeepMind learned from its mistakes and got better. After playing lots of games, it became so good that it beat top players in the world. So how does this AI system learn? Well, it uses something called reinforcement learning. Imagine you're teaching a dog a new trick. Show the dog what to do, and when it does it right, you give it a treat. AI systems learn in a similar way. They get rewards when they do well, just like getting a gold star in school. This helps them figure out what works and what doesn't. So you feed the AI a bunch of data, and then it tries to guess the right answer. When it guesses right, it gets a reward. If it guesses wrong, it gets nothing. Over time, it figures out the best way to do the thing you want it to learn. It's like a game where the AI has to beat itself. Each time it plays, it tries to be better than it was before. Since it plays against itself, it can keep getting better forever. And here's another cool thing. This AI can also teach itself new things without a teacher. How does it do that? Well, let's say you want to teach an AI to recognize faces. You can give it a bunch of pictures and tell it which ones have faces and which do not. Then you can ask it to identify faces in new pictures it's never seen before. Here's the twist. Instead of just telling it the answers, you can give it some hints. For example, you can say, hey, look around the eyes and mouth. That's a good place to start. With these hints, the AI can learn to recognize faces all by itself. It's like having a student who can learn independently. But wait, there's more. What's even cooler is that these AI systems can learn from text, too. For example, you can give it a bunch of books and ask it to summarize each chapter. This is helpful because sometimes we don't have enough data to train an AI system to recognize things. So instead of using pictures, we can use text. And AI systems can learn to recognize names, places, and things just from text. That's pretty cool, but that's not all. These AI systems are really good at solving problems that we couldn't even imagine. For example, DeepMind created an AI that could look at pictures of cells under a microscope and figure out if someone had a parasite infection. That is like having a doctor who can look at a tiny drop of blood and tell you if you're sick. This AI was so good that doctors at the Royal Tropical Institute in Amsterdam used it to check their results. The AI was fast and accurate, which helped doctors spend more time with patients. And it's not just about medicine. Nay, I can help us understand climate change by looking at satellite pictures of the Earth. Scientists can use these AIs to track changes over time, like melting ice caps and rising sea levels. It's like having an extra set of eyes in the sky, and that's not all. In healthcare, AI can look at tons of patient records to help doctors make better decisions. It can spot patterns and risks that doctors might miss. So AI is helping us solve some of the world's biggest problems. But how do we make sure these AI systems are safe and fair? Well, it turns out that the way we train these AI systems can make them biased or unfair. For example, if we train an AI to recognize faces and most of the pictures we use are of light-skinned people, the AI might not be able to recognize darker skin tones as well. That is because the AI is only seeing a few types of faces, and it is not learning to recognize the full range of human faces. It's like teaching a kid to recognize faces by only showing them pictures of family members. They might not be able to recognize other people as well. To fix this, we need to give these AI systems more diverse data so they can learn to recognize everyone. Another problem is that these AI systems can sometimes make mistakes that we can't even imagine. For example, in 2018, a self-driving car from Uber's AI killed a woman in Arizona.
Oh.
The AI didn't see the woman because it wasn't trained to recognize pedestrians at night. It's like teaching a kid to drive and only letting them practice in the daytime. It might not be able to handle nighttime driving. That's why we need to make sure these AI systems are trained with lots of different kinds of data so they can handle any situation. To make these AI systems more reliable, we need to give them tons of data to learn from. For example, to make sure that an AI can recognize all kinds of faces. We need to give it pictures of people with different skin tones, ages, and genders. We also need to give it pictures of people wearing glasses, hats, and beards so it can learn to recognize all kinds of faces. It's like giving a kid lots of different kinds of faces so they can learn to recognize everyone. We also need to make sure that these AI systems are trained on data that reflects the real world. For example, if we're making an AI to help doctors diagnose diseases, we need to make sure it's trained on data that includes people from different backgrounds and with different health conditions. Otherwise, it might not be able to help everyone equally. Finally, we need to make sure that these AI systems are trained fairly. It means we need to make sure that the data we use to train them does reflect any biases that we might have. For example, if we're training an AI to decide whether someone is a good credit risk, we need to make sure that the data we use doesn't reflect any racial or gender biases. Otherwise, the AI might end up being biased too. It's like teaching a kid about the world. We want to make sure that they learn to be fair and inclusive. Just like kids, AI systems learn from what they're taught, so it's important that we teach them well. Imagine you're teaching a kid how to ride a bike. At first, the kid might be scared and unsure, but with your help and practice, they'll eventually learn how to ride. And once they learn, they won't forget how to ride. AI systems work in a similar way. They learn from the data we give them and get better at what they do with practice. And once they're good at it, they can keep doing it over and over again without getting tired or making mistakes. It's like having a tireless and accurate assistant. But here's the thing. AI systems are only as good as the data we give them. If we want them to be smart and helpful, we need to give them lots of good data to learn from, and that's not easy. Collecting and cleaning data takes a lot of time and money, but it's worth it because AI systems can help us do things that we couldn't do before. So the next time you see an AI doing something amazing, remember that it all starts with data. AI is amazing, right? It can do things we never thought possible. But you know what's even more amazing? You're watching this video and learning about how AI works. That's incredible. You're basically learning how to create the future. And let me tell you, the future is looking bright.